Welcome. We are actually at our Mabon celebration. You can see all our lovely children. So we are about to read a story to the children about associations of Mabon. And one of the stories is the story of Persephone and her mother Demeter, and how Persephone is going into the dark half of the year, seeing how autumn equinox or Mabon is about that time. Or the dark half of the year. But anyways. So another thing we like to do with our kids is we like to dress up in costumes. As you can see, I'm dressed up. My assistant is dressed up too. You won't be able to see him. So my name is Cora. I am the guardian of Autumn. And my assistant is Copa, who is the protector of Autumn. Anyways, so we are going to read the story. Alright guys, everyone listen. So this is a story about Persephone and how she goes into the... gotta listen to the story. How she is going into the underworld because it is getting cold. We are in the cold half of the year. So everybody listen, use our listening ears. One day, Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, is out gathering wildflowers with her companions and nymphs. Her mother, who is busy tending and blessing the fields and the crops, stops to admire a lovely little shrine built by a local farmer with poppies planted all around it. Demeter tucks a few flowers into her braid cornet and blesses the farmer's field with especially abundant crops this year. She turns to check on her daughter, everybody using our listening ears, and sees she is safely chatting with her attendants. Demeter, who was like mothers everywhere, are extremely protective of her child. Is your guys' mommies protective of you? Yeah. So Demeter is protective over Persephone, because Persephone is Demeter's daughter in the Greek pantheon. Bailey, listen. Demeter and Persephone were constant companions. Persephone was Demeter's only daughter. But Persephone was now a young woman coming into her own power, and she was beginning to feel a bit hemmed in. So Persephone wandered off and walked about on her own. She needed some space away from the chattering nymphs, and she relished the freedom that being alone offered. Sit down, baby. So Persephone, right at this time, she's feeling old enough that she doesn't really want to be underneath her mom's watch. So she's deciding, I'm big enough and I'm going to go walk off on my own. Persephone slips off over the next hills, well out of sight of the group, and looked around, wondering why things that once delighted her now seemed so dreary. She sits amongst the flowers and tall waving grass and rests her chin in her hand. She sighs deeply as she at last identifies the feeling deep in her heart as restlessness. Why won't her own mother, the incredible goddess thought she is, acknowledge that she is no longer a child? Persephone wondered what it would like to have a lover. She hears the nymphs talk about it. What she really needs, Persephone decided, is a little intrigued romance with a dark stranger and an adventure. So she's at this time where she is not a kid anymore, and she basically wants to go find herself a boyfriend, a companion. As soon as the thought popped into her head, Persephone noticed an unusual flower, blooming all by itself over in the fields. Intrigued, she rises and goes over to take a closer look at it. The flower is a narcissus, and a narcissus is basically a lily. It wafts out in an incredible fragrance and glows in illuminating shades of white. Delighted at the unusual flower, Persephone leans over to pluck the blossom, and when the ground rumbles and suddenly opens up beneath her feet, shh, now listen. Persephone screams as she falls, and it is then caught by a dark man driving a chariot pulled by a black horse. As the ground begins to swallow them up, Persephone screams even louder for help, and then there is silence. Persephone turns to look at her capture, and her heart slams into her throat. Here, she sees a dark, handsome, dangerous man she was secretly daydreaming for. Everybody listening?
Yeah.
She asked for his name, and he turned to look down into her face. Her mouth dries up as she recognizes it's Hades. He's Lord of the Underworld. So he is the god of the underworld in the Greek pantheon. His voice is deep and final as he announces that she has taken her to be his bride. Well, she got what she asked for, didn't she? She wanted a person. This is a statement, not a request. And Persephone begins to argue that she would like to have some say in the matter. Hades silences with a kiss. With Persephone responds to despite herself. A few moments later, shh, hang on, listen, baby.
Listen to the story.
A few moments later, Hades breaks off the kiss with a grim smile, and the rest of the journey is silent as they rush towards the underworld kingdom. So he is Lord of the underworld, so he's got a castle. Rather than struggle, Persephone decides to give him the silent treatment. And if the kiss meant nothing, she waits him out and plots as what she will do when they reach their destination. If he thinks she's going to make it easy for him, he has quite a surprise. Once they arrived at Hades' great hall, and Persephone begins to realize that she had maybe well and was truly trapped. However, being a goddess herself, she decides to make Hades work for her affection. Hades sets out. You know what affection is?
Yeah.
What's affection?
Love.
Love. Yeah.
Like how you're affectionate to your mommies and daddies.
So she's gonna make him work for her love. We will put them on later, baby. Hang on. I'm gonna put these there. You sit and watch. Listen. So yep. Hades set out to woo his reluctant bride, and slowly in time she falls for the bad boy. What do I mean by bad boy? Let's see. Picture a dark, gothic prince type. Oh, he's dark, he's tormented, and he suffers. He needs her. A romantic secret fantasies come to life. Yep, he's a goner. Here in the underworld, Persephone is a queen, and she has powers of her own. She begins to settle into the very different world that she now rules, and time has no meaning for her. However, Demeter, remember, Demeter is Persephone's mama, wants her back, and the earth is suffering. When the first messenger, Iris, goddess of the rainbows, arrives to ask Hades to release his bride, Persephone overhears them and realizes just how angry her mother has become. So the goddess Iris, which is the goddess of rainbows, so now you know what your name actually derives from, is asking Hades to please let Persephone come back to Demeter because her mama is sad. If Demeter withholds her blessings from the earth, then the people are starving and the land must desolate. Do we know what desolate means?
Destroy.
So desolate means, yes, basically everything is dying. Everything's dying. Because Demeter is the mother of the green, and she keeps everything green and pretty. So because she is upset, she's not keeping everything green and pretty, so everything is dying. Persephone wanders off into the shadowy garden of Hades, overwhelmed with guilt, and admits to herself that she has fallen for her husband. Persephone believes herself to be alone, but Hades' gardener, I'm going to butcher this name, Asclepius. I'm going to step in. What? Yeah. It's a Greek name.
Asclepius.
Yep. Is silent, watching from the shadows of the trees. While she ponders what to do, she plucks a deep red pomegranate from the tree and sits on the bench to think. While she misses the sunlight and would like to see Demeter again, she is torn between staying with the man she has grown to love or return to the sunlight, never to see him again. So she's torn. Hey, pay attention, guys.
Listen.
So Persephone is torn. Should she stay with the man she loves, or should she go see her mama? But if she goes sees her mama, she can't go stay with the man she loves. So she's stuck and torn. Persephone is faced with a huge decision, one that will break her heart no matter what she decides. How to choose between two people she loves. So she loves her husband, but she loves her mama too. But she must decide which one to be with. And if she chooses one over the other, she can't see the other one again. She focuses on the pomegranate and realizes she holds the answer within her hand. So she's holding this pomegranate. She splits the fruit open and tastes the ripe ruby red fruit. She feels the importance of what she has done, sinking in her like a stone. For no one who eats the food of the underworld can ever leave. She hides the fruit away and believes herself to be unseen. But the gardener has seen her eat the fruit, and she keeps this information to himself. Eventually, Zeus is the ruler of all the gods. He's the top dog.
He's the daddy of all the gods.
Yep. Gives in to Demeter's rage, and Hermes is sent to retrieve Persephone. Hey, are we listening?
Yeah.
We're not using our listening ears.
Stop.
So Hermes is what is known as the messenger god. That is who he is.
Little blue guy with wings on his feet.
Yeah. If you watch the Disney movie, he's a little blue guy. But that's Hermes. Hades looks on his wife with sorrow, and she begins to leave with Hermes. Persephone can't decide what to do, and Asclepius speaks up that he has seen the queen eating part of the pomegranate. So Hades bids his wife goodbye, knowing full well that she will return to him. And Persephone is reunited with her mother. Hey, you too. Stop moving. When Demeter learns of this development, she still refuses to bless the earth with life. So a compromise is reached. Persephone will spend half of the year with her husband and half of the year with Demeter. This seems to satisfy Demeter, and so life returns to the land. When the time comes for Persephone to return to her husband, are we listening? Hey.
1, 2, 3, eyes on Ashley.
That works. So when Persephone is returned to her husband, Demeter goes into mourning. The nights grow longer and the leaves start to turn, then fall from the trees, and winter is beginning to set in. So at this time, do you notice we are in fall? It's the first day of fall. So at this time, Persephone has went to go stay with her husband. So this is has everybody noticed it started getting colder? That we're having to wear just a little bit longer sleeves and we're having to wear our pants?
At least the past couple days, not today.
That's because Persephone has went to go stay with Hades, and so Demeter is upset. So she is starting to make everything go to sleep. So that's why it's starting to get colder and it's not so hot anymore.
And all the leaves are falling off the trees.
Yep. But every year, as Persephone returns to the earth, Demeter hears her daughter's footsteps, and in her joy, she brings life back to the earth. So Persephone becomes the bringer of the seasons and the goddess of the underworld. She's no longer has to choose between her loved ones. She shares her time equally amongst them and is content. This is the story that haunts my dreams for weeks. Persephone was pretty darn, for instance. For a while, I worried that the readers might roll their eyes at me and call me a romantic. But yeah, anyways. So this is why it's starting to get colder and it's starting to, the leaves on the trees are starting to change colors. And we're actually going to autumn and then winter. Is that because Persephone has went into the underworld with Hades so that her mama is upset? Ta-da!